Hi, I'm Demi Stevens, founder and CEO of You're the Book Press and editor-in-chief of Self Pub Magazine. Here in the studio today for our Person Behind the Author series with Cate Masters. Welcome, Cate.
Thank you so much.
It's so great to have you here. I understand you are an incredibly prolific author.
Well, it actually looks that way, but I had so much of a backlog before I actually started to sub anything out that I actually had a lot of books published at once. So,
well, I love
it's an illusion.
I love the illusion. I want to learn more about the wizard. What was your first published book?
That one was Fever Dreams that I had. It wasn't the first one I wrote actually, but it was the first one that I got published, and that was one of the ones that I think it was 2009 that I just subbed just a bunch of stories that I had in my backlog, and I ended up with like 14 acceptances my first year.
So when you say subbed, help our viewers know what that means.
Oh, well, every publisher has different guidelines, so you have to do a lot of research and figure out where your story will best fit, because not all publishers would take all genres, so some only want horror, some only want, romance.
Is there a resource you could recommend for where they might find that out?
I used to, and I can't think of the name of it. There's a book.
The Reader's Market?
Yeah,
Or
but the Writer's
Writer's Market.
And I think you can still get that in the library, but pretty much all that information is online now. But I would suggest that just, go to the books that you love and see what the publisher is and look them up online, and they'll usually have a Write For Us section or how to submit or...
Oh, that's a terrific recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to ask, did you suffer through the rejection slip?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Please.
I actually had a big file of rejection slips that I one time just decided to get rid of, and had my own little bonfire of the vanities in the backyard and set them all aflame, and it was actually very freeing. So.
Well, if they all fit into a file folder, I think you're doing better than average. Most people have a box.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's electronic now, so
Oh,
no. You can just hit delete.
Well, good. I'll print mine out so I can torch them live and in person. So, getting from that concept of having a book in print, what was that like the day you first could hold it?
Oh, that's amazing. You just, until you actually experience it, you don't know how wonderful it is. It's like such a thrill.
I just French kissed the mailman. Thank you so much. Thank you. How do you get from one book to more?
You just write what you love and hope that readers love it too, and just follow your heart is my...
Well, you've written in more genres than just one. What is that like to then try to keep readers sustained across different book styles and characteristics?
I just keep them organized on my website, and say here's the fantasy and paranormal, here's the contemporary, here's the historical.
So what's your average writing day look like?
Oh gosh, that's tough, because my two of my grandkids live with me, so it kind of revolves around their schedules. So.
How old are they?
The oldest one will be 7 in September. He's going into first grade, and the middle grandchild is going into kindergarten next month, so I'm very excited to get them both in school. And then my youngest just started preschool, so I'm like, I have a little bit of a life now.
Well, you've written so many books. Do you find that there's a pattern to how you need to write some and then move into the editing process?
Not really. It's really whatever
They're all different.
grabs me, because, for instance, this trilogy, I read about an article in the Smithsonian magazine about Carnival, and that just really stole my interest. And then I sort of worked in details about Leonardo da Vinci, because he had some ties to Venice, and I try to go out of the norm as far as ideas. I don't like, the billionaire, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but the billionaire bachelor and that sort of thing. I just like to do things a little bit differently.
Are you a serial writer? Do you stick with one title until it's all the way through, or are you mixing or matching?
I do not. I have not written a true series yet. I would love to. The Goddess Connection series is the first one that's,
series. I'm not.
But they're not connected. Every story is a standalone.
Yeah,
so.
series. I'm not even asking that.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying, do you sit down to write one book and keep writing that book until it's all the way done?
Oh, no.
No?
Because sometimes you'll just sort of hit a wall and you'll realize you haven't quite thought through all the details, and you'll just need to step away a little bit and give it some breathing room, and then when you go back to it, you have fresh eyes. And
How long does it generally take once you start a new title?
Could be years, literally. Some take years and some are months.
Do you have any that are in the writing process while another one is being edited or being published?
Yeah, and it just varies. Things have slowed down a little bit. Like I said, I have my grandkids. I was raising them for a couple of years, so definitely slowed down then. But generally, yeah, I always try and keep something new going, because editing can take a long time too. You don't realize how many revisions your editor is going to send it through, and then I like to revise probably 4 or 5 times myself before I even send it out to an editor.
Okay, so a first draft, and then 3, 4, 5 revisions on your own.
Yeah.
What's it like? How do you communicate with your editor?
Well, there's another step to that process too, because I have critique partners, and I never ever do anything without them looking at it first, because they always have good feedback and a different perspective on things.
How did you meet this group of people, this critique partner group?
I actually we all split up after 10 years just because one was not really writing so much anymore, and one was just too busy, and another was just, I don't know, we just decided it was time to shake things up. But
How did you get started?
we all took a workshop together, a local workshop through Ann Stewart. If you're familiar with her, she holds at the Cleve Frederickson Library in Camp Hill. She teaches, and a lot of those are free. So that's a very good resource if anybody's looking for it.
That's fantastic. Okay, so a first draft, some revisions on your own with critique group feedback. Then we move to the editor. What happens then?
It really just depends on the editor. I've been really lucky, and I really appreciate an editor who will work me hard and give me different, perspective and have a vision for the story. So it's usually at least 3 rounds, sometimes as many as 5.
Okay, so I know some of our viewers might think of editing like the high school English teacher and the red pen. What is it like from your perspective?
It's the virtual red pen.
Virtual red pen.
We usually use Word, and the track changes, and they'll put in comments and say, have you thought about this? Or else it'll be a word choice, and then they'll say, try this.
Do you always communicate via email and the written document, or do you ever?
Pretty much, yeah. I've never met any in person, unfortunately. I hadn't had the opportunity.
That's fun. Okay, so once it gets through a few rounds of editing, then what happens next?
There's a process. You usually have to suggest an idea for the artwork, and then their cover artist will run with it and put something together, and you don't usually have an opportunity to make too many changes unless there's, the spelling of your name or something. Then they'll make a change. But.
Absolutely. So when you get a new book, what is that like then? Do you have a process you've developed for marketing it, for letting people know the new title's out?
My basics are my blog and Facebook, and I'm terrible at Twitter, but I've been trying to learn that a little bit better, because there's...
Well, we'll tweet out this video.
Yeah. I know there's an etiquette, and I'm not quite familiar with it, but...
Tweeticate, we'll call it. Twitticket.
And I've done the virtual book tours, and I love to do in-person events if there's ever something that comes up.
Have you made friends with other authors along the way?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Is that a good support group for you to
Yes.
bounce ideas off of?
And it's amazing how supportive everyone is. That was one of the things that you would think that authors would be, in such competition with each other, but that was one of the most pleasant surprises about writing, was that other authors are so welcoming and so helpful. And I try to do that for other authors too.
Well, bless you. Everybody appreciates the helping hand. Well, thanks for that great peek inside the life of a real author. I am so pleased to have met you today,
Well,
Cate.
thank you. You too. This was very nice.